Hey, come on in. Did you find the place okay? Good. I wasn't too worried, but you never know. Mwah. Hi, you. I'm glad you decided to come. Yeah, well, you know how it is. You've had a lot to process and take in. I kinda keep expecting you to decide none of this is worth it. Still, trust issues, remember? I'm getting there. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here now. But yeah, thank you for not running away screaming just yet. If you say so, I think you're pretty worth it too. Okay then. Want something to drink? Sure, I definitely have water. Never too much of that around. Come through here, the kitchen's this way. I should probably give you the whole tour, actually, not that there's much to see. Just a cozy little place, nothing fancy. I like the southern exposure, though. Lots of light. You want ice? Okay, here you go then. So this is the kitchen, pretty standard. There's the living room. The bathroom is through there. And the bedroom's down that way. That's kind of it. It's plenty for me. I have room for plants and anything else I need. Yeah, I've never brought anyone here before. Just take a look around for a minute, you'll see why. It'd be a lot to explain. Well, for example, over here, this shelf. Here's a picture of me and some of my sisters a few years ago. I suppose, and people would probably believe that. A bunch of girls in cosplay with some photo effects added in. But it would be hard to explain if anyone asked for details. I'm not great at coming up with complicated backstories on the fly. The truth is easier. You ever notice that? Easier and way better for peace of mind. Also, stuff like this. This is dirt. What does it look like? It's dirt from the old land, but if you listen to it, it sings a little. Here, put your ear close. Can you hear that? That's a lot harder to explain. Anything magic is a tough one. This place is my sanctuary, even more private than my shop, and I try to make myself as comfortable as possible here. I don't have to hide who I am or what I am. I can just exist among my things and be me. Yep, that's why it's a big deal that you're here now. Because I do trust you. This is the part of me that you haven't seen. It's not that big a deal in the grand scheme, but it's me. Just who I am. Yeah, anyway, so I'm making spaghetti for dinner. Does that work? Good. I love spaghetti. I hope you like my recipe. I've been refining it for a long time. Just a long time. That's something we can talk about later. First things first, let's finish looking at all the things that I don't let other people see. Yep, those are all native to where I'm from. I keep them close by because they feel familiar. But I was thinking more about this. It's a sword. Okay, it's a sword fashioned by the gods. One of my sisters gave it to me for safekeeping and then just never wanted it back. So I kept holding on to it for her. Pretty, right? Be careful not to swing it around or anything. I probably shouldn't just keep it here, but I think it's safe. It's got some properties that really shouldn't get out. Again, that might be a conversation for another time. Here, I'll put it back. Okay, here's a little tuft of golden fleece. That was more of a gag gift from my cousin. Oh, it's real, but it's too small to do much with. And over here, this mirror. It's a regular mirror most of the time, but if I do this, look. That's my grotto. That way I can keep an eye on it from anywhere. It really is, isn't it? It's perfect. I'll go back there eventually, but for now, I like it here. Very much. I like the city more than I expected to, honestly. It's an adventure. And now I've met you, and it's an even more interesting adventure. Okay, well, why don't we have a seat and just relax for a bit? Dinner isn't for another few minutes. I think all that's left is the garlic bread. The sauce has been simmering for a few hours already. I thought maybe, if you have more questions after the other night, now would be a good time for me to answer them. Or at least, try to. If you don't have any questions, of course, don't worry about it, but just in case you do. Okay then, sorry if I'm being awkward. This is a lot for you, but it's also a lot for me. I'm still adjusting to the fact that you know so much now. I think so. I think it's still a good thing. I haven't changed my mind about that, just, you know how it is. Takes some time to get used to the big changes. So, is there anything you want to know? Really? Interesting question. I wasn't sure what to expect, but no, it's good. Let me try to answer it as best I can. So, I could see why that might be weird. There's a lot of plants and food, including the food we're eating tonight. Can't really get away from that, honestly. So the short answer is yes, I do eat plants, but that doesn't mean I can't still have a connection to them. The two are intertwined. I respect them and appreciate them, but they aren't people. They don't have the sort of feelings and thoughts that we do. And their interpretation of concepts like pain doesn't work the way ours do. I can't really be much clearer than that. I'm sorry, here I told you to ask me whatever you wanted to know, and right away I don't have the right words to answer you. That figures. No, I get it. For me, it's hard to explain because, I experience this every day. My life is tied to plants and them to me, and it's just how it is. I live it, I understand it because it's part of me, and it's nearly impossible to convey to someone who isn't like me. It would be like you trying to describe a color to someone who can't see color. There just really aren't words to define it. But just trust me, it's all good. I do eat plants. I also eat some meats, depending on a few key factors. Because at the end of the day, we're all part of the same ecosystem, the same food chain. There's a balance in nature, and I know my place in that. Maintaining the balance is important. Plus, spaghetti tastes good. And I need fuel just like everyone else. No. That's cute, but no, I don't photosynthesize anything. Remember, I'm not a plant. They are the plants. I'm just attuned to them. But I need to eat and drink and live like everyone else. Okay, well, do you have any other questions? Yeah, don't ever get me flowers, unless they're still attached to a plant and it's in a pot or something. No, I don't do cut flowers. That seems rather pointless, like a waste of beauty and life. Well, they're dead, but they linger, you know. They die slowly in vases of water. They're pretty for a few days, and then they're not. It's a bit macabre. I much prefer live plants, but I think you already knew that. Honestly, I'm really not that different from you. My background, my magic connections, those are different, sure, but my experiences and feelings and things like that are all very human. I live my life, I eat and sleep and go to work. I feel things, bad and good, and I adjust my life around those things. I have hobbies and interests. I'm just a person who happens to have somewhat divine properties. I'd really rather you see me as ordinary. No, I like ordinary. It's nice. It's reassuring. There's so much comfort and stability in something that's predictable and simple. Trust me, you spend enough time around the sorts of people I grew up with, you learn to appreciate a lack of drama. Drama's exhausting. I like the quiet. I figured you'd ask about that eventually, and that's on me for creating such an easy opening. It's fine. It's part of the story. I don't mind. So, yeah, the whole Greek pantheon. There's a lot to unpack there, I know that. Suffice it to say, it's more or less what the stories talk about, with a few tweaks here and there. Epic battles, petty and vengeful gods, a lot of jealousy and backbiting. It's a flawed group, that one, and I'm part of it, for better or worse. But at least I'm about as far removed from it as I can be. No, not like that. This isn't a situation where you need to, like, upend your belief system and build a shrine to Zeus in your house. This is... How can I put this? What do you think of when you think of gods? Mostly, yeah, that's what people think. All-powerful, all-knowing, that sort of thing. So far above normal humans as to be divine. Maybe immortal. None of that actually applies to the Greek gods you know about. Oh, they have power. Less now than they used to have, but they have some. They're just not all-powerful, and they're certainly not all-knowing. They exist in a bubble, increasingly isolated as humans become more developed. They basically got lucky. I can't really get into all the details of who they are and where they came from, but suffice it to say they have limits, hard ones. And when it comes down to it, it's a really good thing that they aren't omnipotent. That would be... Well, I doubt the planet would still exist if they could do all the harm they wish they could do. Yeah, well, most of them don't care as much about the Earth and the things on it as me and my sisters do. We were created specifically for this, and we do it really well. We protect and defend and maintain. Some of us are better at it than others, and some have been led astray here and there, but for the most part, we look after this place. It's our home too, you know. Some of the gods, they don't really see it that way. They're a little more fixated on themselves. It's a shame, really. They could do a lot of good if they tried. Well, maybe not so much anymore. They wouldn't want me to tell you this, but they're a little afraid of humans. You have evolved so fast, and you developed some seriously powerful technology in the past 100 years. They have reason to avoid tangling with you. For all they know, you'd win. You have numbers and firepower and... Well, they'd rather not test that theory. So the gods and the demigods and the rest of us more or less stay private. The less humans know, the better. It honestly helps to think that people don't believe in us anymore. It makes things easier in a lot of ways. Does that answer your question? I know there's a lot I can't really get into, but that's basically the idea. Okay, good. And you're still okay with me being this? Okay, if you're sure. If you're ever not comfortable with something, please tell me. I can do my best to make it better, whatever's going on. Great. So, anything else? Not long. I should probably put the bread in the oven soon. Oh, that sounds interesting. What on earth could you have in mind that's good for 5 minutes of killing time? You know what? You're right. That is an amazing way to kill time. But maybe we make it 10 minutes, just to be sure. Kiss me again, sweetness. Dinner can definitely wait. Hey, sweetness. Special shout out to this audio's randomly selected sweetness patron, Christian Adams. Thank you so much to all my patrons for keeping this channel going. If you like what you hear, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and check out the links in the description for my other channels and ways to support me. Thanks for listening.